guys, Sparko again. This is tutorial number 3. I'm going to show you how to place enemy units down and use waypoints to tell them what to do and where to go. And then I'll show you some simple functions of the triggers that we can use. I haven't got a player on here at the moment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a player unit, but I'm going to make him a civilian rather than an op4. Just ensures that I don't get shot by the enemy if just pop him down there. Okay, so we need some units to tell where to go, so I'm just going to pop a couple of riflemen down. Okay, they're already grouped, actually I'll put 3 down. So they're all grouped to him. Okay, so to plot a waypoint, if you select on the left hand side these 2 feet, and then select the squad leader, i.e. the one that's everyone is grouped with, and then double click, you'll have an insert waypoint window. What we want them to do is we want them to move to this actual place where I've double clicked. Now there are different settings on here. Ignore these. The main ones you need to use are these. The category can only always be default. I think this always defaults to move anyway, or at least the last waypoint mode that you used. So we're going to leave it at that for now. Waypoint order will be, well, it'll increment itself as and when we place different waypoints. So on the right hand side we've got combat mode, which I don't tend to use because if they see you they'll shoot at you anyway, as we all know. So I've never really used these, so I'll keep that as no change. Formation, the best one to use is a staggered column. It tends to look more natural when they're patrolling, if that's the effect that you want to get. There are others, but I tend to use this one. Speed, I don't usually change this either. I mean, I've used full before for when I've wanted the enemy to rush towards us for whatever reason, but just keep that on no change. And then behaviour, I tend to use safe. They look more natural as they're on patrol than the others, so I'll just keep that on as safe. And once you've done that, click OK. So basically that's saying this guy here is going to move to there, but because they're under his ruling, they're going to follow him. Okay, so to add the next waypoint in, because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them march like this, basically, in a square, just to show you how they work. And also, it's not a case of just placing 3 or 4 waypoints down, because if we just did that, they would just walk in a square once as soon as the mission starts, and that would just be a bit pointless. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put something that's called a cycle on the last waypoint, and that will ensure that they cycle round the whole entire time until they're disturbed. So the next waypoint I'm going to place here. Again, look, it's incremented to 1. The other one was 0, so that's okay. So no change to combat, formation, staggered column. You can change these on each waypoint if you wish, but I tend to keep them the same. Safe. And I'll just redo that one. I'll tell you what that red square means later. It's because I'm on a runway light. So if I just do it there instead, you have to make sure that move's selected when you click your next waypoint. Okay, move. Staggered column, safe. Same again here. Safe. And then place one here. Safe. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place one around about here. this is going to be my cycle waypoint. So what I mean by that is, instead of having move, change it to cycle, and then keep these the same as before. And what happens is, it then goes to the place where they originally started, and then they begin the waypoint again. So they'll constantly keep going around like this, hopefully, when we try it in a minute, until they're disturbed. So let's preview that. So here we go, they're going to the first waypoint now. Just shout some gibberish as when they get to another waypoint, a bit like shouting orders.
هفتاد و 5 متر حرکت کن جلو. برو بالا.
It shouldn't be too long now. When we get back to the start, you'll see that they keep going round. Fortunately, it means watching them until they go round once, just to make sure it works.
برو برو. برو بالا.
Here we go. Let's just go back to the first waypoint again now. So this is it cycling. So they just do that for as long as I'm in the game,
برو بالا.
basically. Okay. So that's how you get your patrols on. I've only done a short one there, but obviously you can do. I've done round buildings, round blocks of streets, so they're going massive distances. But it makes a big difference putting patrols on a map. It also makes it unpredictable as well, even for you as a map designer, because you never know where the enemy are going to be. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is getting the enemies into houses, because they don't actually just spawn in a house, although there probably are scripts out there that do, but there's no need for them. So let's find somewhere they can go. Military offices, okay. Alright, so I'm going to... first of all, I'll just move my civilian guy over, I won't be able to see anything. Let's move him down there. Okay, so we've got some military offices here, we've got sort of a shed, military cargo. You can't actually, well, that I know of, you can't spawn enemy in buildings, you have to tell them to get in there. So I'm going to create a dude, doesn't matter what force he is I suppose, pop him in there, and I'm going to give him a waypoint, but this time I'm going to hover over the name of the building I want him to get into. So I double click, I want him to move. Now you've got this extra option here when you select on the building name, make sure the name's shown when you double click. And these are all different positions within the house that that unit can go to. So when the map loads, it'll go to this position. So even if we spawned across the other side of the map, this is the first thing this unit will do as soon as the map starts. So I'm going to say 4. Unfortunately, there's no way of knowing where that position is. It's a case of trial and error as to where you want the guy. So I'll I'll not change anything there, there's no need to. So move, so you're going to get to position 4, so I okay that. And also I'll place another one in here. I'll ungroup them by selecting the group tool. If I keep them group, I'm pretty sure he'll follow his orders. So we need to keep them separate. So that's one thing to bear in mind if you're placing things like snipers in buildings and stuff. Make sure they're ungrouped. Otherwise they'll get confused which order to follow. So again, hover over it. Make sure that you haven't selected the previous waypoint, which I know because this is starting at 0 again, so it's got nothing to do with the waypoint already selected. I'm going to select position 8. Okay, that. Now when we launch this, they should go straight to that building, so let's have a look. There's our dudes. There they go. Okay. Now they'll go and stand in their respective areas. Guys, what's he doing? Okay. That's one position that we told him to go. And another guy's in here. Sneaky. Okay, so basically, that is how you get an enemy unit to go inside a house. But like I say, on buildings with windows that we typically come up against in villages, one of the, or several of the positions of that house will be windowed areas to which we get shot at from. Okay, so that's using waypoints to get people into houses. Okay, we're going to jump forward to looking at simple basic triggers. Very simple. I'm going to do this by creating a group. I'm not going to put them down as enemy. Simple fact being that I'll change my guy to a blue 4. I'm going to put a blue 4 group down. No, I'm not. So put a blue 4 group down. Okay. I'm going to get rid of some of these guys. Right, so if I select the first one and say move to here, in fact I won't put any changes in, I'll just put a move option in. Now I'm going to give them another one to say move to here. Okay, but this time what I'm going to do is going to use a trigger and place it here. Now on the triggers menu you have all different options. This is, you can either have it as a rectangle or ellipse, or if you change these to zeros it'll just be a flag, which are genuinely used for use with modules, which we'll look at in the future. For now I'm going to make it 10 by 10. You'll see what it looks like in a sec. The time is down here, again we'll look at that at a later point. All we're bothered about at the moment is the activation of this trigger. So I'm going to make the blue 4 activations, which is me, and present, and I want it to fire once. Okay, that's all we need to do for the time being. Now as you can see, it's created this flag with a circle around it. This circle is the 10 axis that we put in, the axis numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this trigger over here, and what I want them to do is when we boot the mission up, these guys are going to move to here, but I don't want them to move to there until I, or a blue 4 unit, has triggered this trigger, i.e. fired it, by walking into this zone. So I want them to wait there until I move into there. And the way to do that is use this link tool. So what we want to do is link this trigger to this movement, which you do by dragging across, making sure that you've got the link tool selected. So what it's saying now is these guys will move to there, they'll stop. The only time they will move to there is if the blue 4 is within this radius. So let's check that out. There they are. Okay, so they're sat there waiting for this trigger to be fired now. Okay. Right, so let's move into the trigger. Okay, there we go. He's given the order now. I've fired this trigger off by moving into it, and they're going to the next waypoint. And that is a very simple way to use the triggers. There's lots of different ways I could show you how to use them, but that's using them with waypoints. So they're typically used for, say if we had a group of enemy up here, and you wanted them to wait there until we entered this area, and then once we're entered that area, they then move at full force this way to hunt us down. So they're very, very, very useful. They're very useful for vehicles, but we'll look at more complicated triggers at future tutorials. So that's the waypoints, cycling, and the triggers. So yeah, have a crack at it, see how you get on, and I'll speak to you again in the next tutorial.